Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Apex Investor. This is the update for Tuesday, October the 5th. This is the channel for the little guy. I'm here to help you. We try to identify what are the best opportunities in the stock market before they happen. We offer you free of charge technical analysis in order to identify, once again, the lowest price for you to buy and the highest price in order for you to sell to maximize your profits. So we like to start off our updates, our daily videos with the biggest loser and the big winner of the day. The biggest loser was CEI, negative 50%. And BT was your big winner today with a plus 36% gain. So we're going to move on to the trending stocks next. And as you can see, the market recovered somewhat today, about 1% in almost every sector after a day of fear yesterday. So let's look at who are the movers and shakers today. So yeah, it looks like a rebound from yesterday. HCMC continues to, well, it's negative 14%, but all in all, not too many stocks. They didn't take such a big dive today. So it looks like there is somewhat of a recovery. However, the video still stands as in terms of my opinion and what's going to happen factually on the 18th, where the federal government of the United States have to decide what they're going to do in terms of addressing the debt ceiling. So let's look here. GameStop is at 172. AMC is at 37. And okay, I'm trying to see who else we're looking at here. In terms of movers and shakers, Metamaterials is up a little bit. So we're going to take a closer look at them. That's the darling of the channel. IronNet is the second one. Clover's another one, but I haven't invested in them. Clover's up a little bit. I should say IronNet, not Clover. Okay, moving on. Just keep on scrolling down here. Bitcoin is above 51,000. It's above 50,000 US. It hasn't been at this level for quite a while. So that's really good news for the crypto people because Bitcoin is the gold standard of the crypto market. Mara is up 10% and SDC, Wall Street Bets favorite, is up 15%. So that's really good news for them on Wall Street Bets there. Okay, so let's take a closer look at those stocks, Metamaterials, and so on. Welcome back. Metamaterials day today, they're up 3%. The day's range was 502 to 529. So pretty good day. Volume wasn't immense, but it was 7 million, just about over a third of the average. And we see some news here about Meta completing the acquisition of Nanotech Security Core. So that, I think a lot of people who are not so savvy about this company, about Metamaterials, or even Nanotech itself, don't realize just the impact and the gravity of this acquisition, just how big this deal is. It's going to be a very big deal in the long term, as well as I mentioned the other day regarding the merger with Torchlight, just how valuable those assets are going to be, especially with the value of oil and gas just going up, just increasing over time. It isn't diminishing, it's only getting better. So let's look at the next stock here. The press release on the Nanotech Security acquisition. I wanted to bring up this information here, this tidbit regarding Nanotech. Metamaterials acquired them, it says here, in an all-cash transaction at $1.25 Canadian per Nanotech common share, which is worth a total value of approximately 90.9 Canadian dollars, 90.9 million Canadian dollars. But that's not the important point. The important one is regarding the production capacity. They plan to double their production capacity over the next 1 to 2 years. So if we're just using a very simple metric of multiplied by 2, we can deduce that 90.9 million will very easily become 200 million, probably more than that over the next 1 to 2 years. And even in the long term, we can see that value increase. So this acquisition is very good. It's only going to increase the quarterly earnings and their overall profits for metamaterials. Okay, I'm going to look at IronNet next and see how their day went. Since that is the second darling of this channel, it's the other stock that I hold position in. Volume was 8.3 million, so just about double the average. And the day's range was 1283 to 1520. So it did reach to $15. There was somewhat of a panic last week where the stock was found support at 1260 around there. And I ended up buying some because I listened to my own advice where I said in one of my videos regarding the 5 stocks that could have a short squeeze, according to Wall Street Bets. These are 5 really prime opportunities. And so I looked into IronNet, did my homework, and identified this is potentially a very good stock. We can see it went all the way up to $45. Very likely will go back to 20 at the very least. They're in cybersecurity, an American company founded by somebody who used to work in the federal government, was very savvy on these kinds of, in this area of cybersecurity. And so I was saying in that video that support is between 10 to 13. It dipped to 1260. I got some. And yeah, it's not going to stay down here for too long, especially in the next, well, let's just say next 1 to 2 years. It's a long-term hold. Bitcoin, I want to look at Bitcoin because I want to show you when was the last time it was at 50,000. It was back in May, all the way back in May. So it's been below 40 and 50 for June, July, and then August. So it's been 3 months, over 3 months that it has not been to 50,000. Actually, is that false? Yeah, actually it was at 50,000 just last month, but it's seeing some dips here and there. But the biggest dip we saw recently was at 29,000 in the last 6 months. In terms of the last year, it was actually back at 11,000 at one point. So Bitcoin is a very, very bullish proposition opportunity for you there. So yeah, buy the dips. This is something you just keep holding. Eventually we'll hit 100,000, maybe even 1 million one day. So let's look next at Twitter and Reddit and see if there's anything for us there. A CEO of MetaMaterials, George Palikaras, retweeted today a Nanotech Security Core tweet. The world of identity is under one roof at Connect ID. It says to schedule a meeting with us on October 5th to 6th. Passports, electronic IDs, documents, tax stamps, and more all require robust anti-counterfeiting technology solutions for protection from counterfeits. And that's an area which I think a lot of people are very concerned with. And for Nanotech to offer a potential solution to address this this problem is very big. It is very significant and on a lot of people's minds to protect themselves in a lot of ways, financially, identity theft, and just people who, that's just increasing and increasing in terms of identity theft and people being able to hack into people's accounts and personal information that is very, very, what's the word, that you don't want people to steal, basically. So let's look at Reddit. That's a very big development. So I think that's kind of understated how important that is. So I had no idea Nanotech was in that they could address that area and provide a solution. So we'll see how that turns out. Okay, welcome back. I wanted to address a concern I had that I saw on Wall Street Bets. I see it often on Wall Street Bets is the saying, buy the dip. This is, look at the disclaimer there. I'm not a financial expert or financial advisor. This is not financial advice. Apex Investor is not financially or legally liable for any losses or gains, financially or otherwise, that you may incur. Good luck to all and may God be with you. So essentially what I'm trying to say here in regards to buy the dip is this could be wrong advice, in my opinion. I feel that way because, for instance, let's look at the last 5 days of metamaterials. Is this the dip, 509? Personally, I don't believe so. The more you zoom out, the more it makes sense. 490, is that the dip? No. I mean, it is a dip, but I'm going to change that that famous saying of buy the dip to something more, I believe, more financially responsible and more just apex investor like. This is a better saying to follow. Do not buy the dip, buy the support. Because again, when you look at this from a day-to-day basis in a short-term range, you're thinking $5 is the dip. You're thinking 490 is the dip. Yeah, they are dips, but they're not the support. Buy the support, don't buy the dip. What is the support? I've covered this in other videos, but essentially you're looking at a value of 280 or anywhere between $2 to $3 is your true support. That's where you want to buy. And I'm talking about metamaterials. Again, this is the darling of the channel. I just want you to get the best entry point possible. Yes, this is a great stock and potentially will go right back up to 20 and even higher, even to triple digits. But in order to minimize your risk, you don't want to buy the dip with any stock. You want to buy the support. So do not buy the dip, buy the support. So that's all for that topic. We'll move on to Reddit. The metamaterials subreddit talking about how another broker or one less broker is displaying the wrong info about the industry Meta are in. So they've listed them as technology, electronic components. So that is good news. We're starting to see more and more brokers correctly list metamaterials sector, which will reflect in the share price eventually. I'm not sure how much that affects the share price, but it will have an effect. Color blue is the most rarely occurring pigment on our planet. These blue morpho butterflies do not have a single pigment of blue in their wings. The microscopic structures of their wings filter out all light except blue, go beyond. So it says here, the color blue is the most rarely occurring pigment on our planet. Again, these microscopic structures on their wings filter out all light except blue light. This is also called diffraction. So this seems to be one of the inspirations for the metamaterials technology. And yeah, I didn't know that about those butterflies, so that's really good. And we can see just how that's being applied in the technology in terms of metamaterials. So on to the next post. I'm having a hard time deciding if I should buy more of this, meaning metamaterials, or more of AMC. If AMC is squeezing, and some say to $400, as I've seen in some videos, is this also squeezing in your opinion? I'm going to share my opinion and say, buy both, buy both. Buy both metamaterials and AMC. It's up to you what you want to do, but why not buy both? For clarity, the next post says here, Torchlight did not own land on all their projects. So this person mentioned this in the comments. Torchlight did not own land in all their projects. They've included a link at the bottom, 134,000 acres, all under university lands, 72.5% working interest, and so on. So what does this mean? Let's look at the comments here. Okay, well, I guess it seems negative. We'll see what happens with the dividend. They do have the assets, though, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. So we'll see what comes out of that. I'm not discouraged in any way by that. We know that they didn't acquire Torchlight for no reason in order to not make money, to not sell off assets. George Palikaras and his wife own 50.08% of Lambda Guard. Lambda owns many of the first patents of metamaterials. Okay, so that's good news. Another post says here, I think the reason for the delay on torching the shorts. Okay, so this is an opinion piece. Let's take a look at this as well. Okay, purely speculatory. I'm going to look at one of the comments in that post. He's offering another possibility. So the post was basically saying George and his wife are accumulating shares because they just want to get rich. In the derogatory MSM narrative, metamaterials is bundled together with other meme stocks. It would then track that George would follow this narrative as it affects his company too. So that's the MSM narrative. The shorted companies are all different, but they likely reside in the same short basket, and the shorters are one and the same. Now, if the shareholders of one of these meme stock companies, who shall not be named, would currently be in the process of locking up the entire float by removing their shares from the DTCC and direct registering them at the company's transfer agent in their own names, why, that would mean that it's only a matter of time until the shorters are in absolutely dire straits and are forced to go into a buying frenzy to purchase the shares back before it happens, or they will get their positions liquidated, starting from the moment that company's float is locked up to secure enough liquidity to close their positions. George is a smart man. If you're carrying a machine gun and taking part in the final stages of a siege against a huge fortified citadel, and I think they seem to, that's a pun intended there, do you start blasting them with everything you've got while you're walking up to the gates? Or do you wait until the slowly advancing, inevitable mega tank on your left rolls up to the same gate, breaks through those gates with sheer power, letting you then follow into the fray through the demolished gates and start blasting? I do the latter every day of the week. So that's a good analogy that, yeah, he's waiting for the right time, and especially to announce PR and so on. And these things are very much, I believe he's orchestrating something very big for not only his company, but even for the shareholders as a result. Next post, we've got 4 potential posts here. I'll be gallium damned. What if I told you the dividend has nothing to do with oil? Would you believe it? Here's why Torchlight Land was purchased by Oil Co. Holdings. This article is crucial to most of the products Meta is part of. The old adage is don't get high on your own supply might not suit this theory, but the chances that this merger was purposeful are becoming clear. With gallium, found heavily in the Permian and Orogande Basin, our divvy might be hidden in plain sight. The price of gallium has doubled in the last year. Gallium is made to produce thin film solar cells, solar 5G and nano, semiconductors, circuits, LEDs, and electronic medical devices such as MRI, diagnostics, and gluco-wise products. 100% off gallium is imported from China. Does this make Meta more unique? I think so. America might be dependent on us, on metamaterials. This was a great DD article, which might shed some light on where the dividend might be headed and what we could be in for. This is yet another reason I'm bullish as heck on Meta. Go Meta hards. So this is a good post. I'm going to check this article out and do my research as to whether what this poster is saying is true. So this is from miningnewsworth.com, talking about critical minerals alliances, techie gallium shorted by rare earths. Okay, so let's see here. Overshadowed by headline grabbing rare earth elements, gallium is an underappreciated critical metal that is vital. It is a vital ingredient in the next generation smartphones and communications networks, light emitting diodes, LEDs, thin film solar cells, and medical devices. So how does this connect to metamaterials? Let's see. So China produced a lot of this material. They seem to be a big source of this material. And yeah, okay, so that seems to check out. But does the land contain gallium? That remains to be seen. We'll see. As I like to say, let's think about this. Okay, here's another post. We got 3 more posts left. The StockTwits post, but this one was posted on metamaterial subreddit. So the tweet is saying announces closing of reverse takeover. Take note of picture 3, the part in red and pick 4 first time. Okay, may as well look at that. But this user is saying, I've been hearing this since last month that the merger is not completely finalized. This is why these crooks still have the balls to short us. Remember, the deal was all short positions must be closed before the merger is finalized. These are crooks and the squeeze is imminent. Stay tuned. Yeah, that could be. There's a lot of red tape in regards to a Canadian company, in this case, Metamaterials, acquiring an American company, which is Torchlight. So there is red tape. There is a lot of things that need to be processed fully. All the T's must be crossed, all the I's must be dotted. And so that could be the case. The devil is in the details. Metamaterial has not released a PR that says announces closing revenue, I should say closing of reverse takeover. Take note of picture 3, the part in red, finally, and pick 4 first time. Okay, let me look at these. So pick 3 and pick 4. Okay, it's taking a while to load. I'll just give it a pause. It says you're closing the reverse merger transaction, the agreement. The documents used to consummate a reverse merger between the private company and a public shell is a share exchange agreement or stock purchase agreement, which usually takes 2 to 4 weeks to draft. Board and shareholder approval must be obtained and a Super 8K form drafted. Financing documents may also be needed. Prior to closing, the shell company must file its, I think, proxy statement with the SEC and is detailed below a number of other filings. Additionally, the private company will usually want to mail to the shareholders a 14C information statement in order to change the name and or capital structure of the newly acquired public company vehicle. If the company does not file the 14C and if a majority of the board of directors is being replaced as a result of the change of control transaction, the company will later be required to file a form 14F-1. Okay, so related filings here. While a traditional IPO would require registration pursuant to the Securities Act of 1933, as amended, no such registration is required of shell companies undergoing a reverse merger. However, shell companies must report the transaction to the SEC by filing Super Form 8-K. The resulting company will no longer be private, so I can't make that out there, but so it will be subject to Sarbanes-Oxley compliance, corporate governance issues, and something public company issues. These, I think, obligations will be greater if the company is listed on a national securities exchange, which it is. So again, I think Kowalski brought this up in one of his blogs talking about everything needs to be done correctly. If there's anything missed, that could be a very big problem for metamaterials. So they want to make sure they do everything by the book. Once public, which they are, it will be subject to several and ongoing time-sensitive filings with the SEC and will thereafter be subject to the disclosure and reporting requirements of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 as amended. Finally, officers, directors, and 10% shareholders must make certain filings. And then there's one last thing to read here. When the form must be filed. This form must be filed within 10 days after the event by which the person becomes a reporting person, etc. And then here it's highlighted, a reporting person of an issuer that is registering securities for the first time under Section 12 of the Exchange Act must file this form no later than the effective date of the registration statement. A separate form shall be filed to reflect a beneficial ownership of securities of each issuer. So there's a lot of, again, red tape. There's a lot of things that need to be completed. And it seems to me, just my impression, that all the details, all of these things that are being described are not, they haven't fully been completed, fully processed. So that's why I do believe, and a lot of us have that kind of, we have the feeling, the strong feeling that that is why George cannot release the megaton announcements, the massive PR news catalyst that would move the stock to squeeze, short squeeze, a gamma squeeze to leading to a short squeeze and so on, because these things have just not been completed. So that's a very good information there. My suggestion, hold. The reason is inside. I know you're all upset with the drop today. Okay, well, I think it was yesterday. So the drop yesterday. There's a bright side to this. I'm sure some of you noticed the market was red yesterday. Well, why? Looks like the toots are rotating out of the overpriced large cap stocks. You have to know what this means. All the big money is going to move into small caps, meaning George was right. We're going to have an epic fall season. In most cases, this trend will go into the end of December, possibly into January and February. And a lot of people are predicting, as this channel is as well, that on the 18th of this month, October, on Monday, we might see a Black Monday leading to a stock market crash. I'm not saying that it's going to happen on Monday, but it will be a big catalyst moving towards a stock market crash, which could happen most likely before the end of this calendar year, December 31st. Now, this is in no way financial advice. Snagging up shares while they are cheap may be an option. Remember all the talk of the overstock squeeze? The race is about to begin here shortly. I'm holding for the ride to the top. I look forward to the smell of burnt bear flesh. I know you all want to torture some shorts. Come get some. Okay, so I also mentioned yesterday that it's very important to have at least 50% of your assets, meaning in cash, reserved in the event of a stock market crash. That's what I've done. That's what I encourage you to do as well, to be stock market crash proof. Although we do have stocks that may or may not be crash proof, stock market crash proof, that are specifically are GameStop, AMC, Metamaterials possibly, and IronNet, as well as Clover, which I believe are strong contenders to be relatively safe in the event of a stock market crash. Okay, last post. It is a video showing how the Meta Air eyewear works. So I watched a little bit of this earlier. It's a short video displaying just how this works. We can see that there's clearly a laser beam being projected through this pointer here into the Meta Air eyewear, and no light is passing through. We can see clearly there's no light passing through. It's actually, I think it seems to be reflecting right off of the glasses. I want to see if there's sound to this video, but otherwise, let's just play it and see this in action. So it appears this is working. They're filming it as well using another device, multiple devices. I don't know if there is sound or not, but in any case, it's not playing. I was watching this earlier in action. Oh, there it is. It's moving now. Okay, so as you can clearly see, laser is not going through.
Goldberg type situation.
Just thinking on the top of my head right now, this kind of technology can be very, very useful for drivers, not only pilots, airplane pilots and so on, airline pilots, I should say. But law enforcement's another one, but even just, civilians who are driving their vehicles, one of the problems that many experience is when the sun is setting, you have the glare of the sunlight. Perhaps this could block out the sunlight, I'm not sure. Also with de-icing, defogging technology being incorporated into this kind of technology. So yeah, that's very good. I'm surprised there's no comments here for this. So that's all I have for you today. I'm very bullish. I remain very bullish on metamaterials. 90% of my portfolio is metamaterials at the very least, and the rest is IronNet for now. I'm looking to buy into Clover between the prices of $6 to $7. So yeah, I'm bullish on that one as well. GameStop and AMC, I think we could expect a squeeze, a greater squeeze down the road if things get out of hand for the shorts. But right now, I don't believe we've hit a level of support that I'm comfortable buying in at. AMC, I'm more comfortable buying that between $6 to $10 or at the highest 20. GameStop, I'm more comfortable buying that between the prices of 40 to 50. At the highest, I'm thinking 60. All right, maybe even 90. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for your support, for all the views, the likes, and the subscribes. Please leave a like if you've liked this video. If not, please leave a dislike. Please comment. I don't have the time to read all the comments, but it would be appreciated if you do leave a comment if you dislike this video, to tell me what I can improve on, what you liked about the video, what you didn't like, in more specific terms. And if I've earned your subscription, please subscribe. If I haven't, don't subscribe, but such an anti-productive thing to say, goes against this channel. But anyhow, just be honest. Want to keep it transparent and honest. So thank you once again. Tune in tomorrow for our next daily update. And God be with you all, and God be with your investments.